more apparent after the Torah was given Mount Sinai, when godliness, spirituality was able to combine with physicality, be able to become united. Physical could become holy, right? It could take a physical object and make it into a spiritual, holy object. And ultimately, though, it's going to be completely to the highest level of unity of physical and spiritual in the times of Mashiach. And we're bringing in these times of Mashiach through making our lives dedicated to this mission of elevating ourselves and the world around us, and everything that we have, every detail of our life, to the purpose of revealing godliness in it. When we do that, we make this world a vehicle, a vessel of physical and spiritual merging and becoming one. And that's what it is. The ultimate goal of the creation of the world is to reveal God in this physical world. And then we bring the world to its complete purpose and its wholeness. And when that's the reality, then the whole world is at peace. Everyone gets along, everyone's working together, everybody has the same goal, everybody has the same reality, and we're all merged together as one people to serve God. As it says, everybody will be like one flesh serving God. Okay, so in this Sikha, the Rebbe says that we're very, very fortunate, because not only we have this mission as human beings in this world and as Jewish people in this world, and we have our own special inheritance that we got from Abraham, and we have all this powers that he infused through Eliezer to be emissaries in this world that he's given us, and these understandings, these awarenesses of spirituality merging with physicality through Torah and mitzvahs. So we all know with Torah we can bring spiritual into the physical. We can elevate the physical when we keep a commandment, and when we learn Torah, the verses of Torah, we're taking spiritual into physical, physical and spiritual merge into one. But we further that even more as we get closer and closer and closer to the times of the complete redemption, where Hashem will completely be revealed, not just in the Torah and mitzvahs that we're doing, but in every little physical thing that we have in this world. God will be revealed as something that is there for the purpose of serving God, and we'll be able to experience godliness in everything physical. Obviously, all impure things will be removed at that point from the world. Nothing will be negating or trying to cover up ungodliness, and everything will be a vehicle for serving God. And that's our mission, to reveal that aspect. And because we are, the Rebbe says, we are emissaries, and we have leaders. We have the Mashiach, who's our leader. He's not just a Mashiach, a redeemer, as a king. He's also a spiritual teacher. He's also a shliach. He's also an emissary. And this, the Rebbe gave us a lot of powers and a lot of strength from God himself. The shliach, Mashiach himself, he says, is a shliach, is a messenger, he's an emissary. Mashiach himself gets a lot of powers from God to be able to fulfill this mission, just like Moses got in his time. Mashiach has in our time, the end of the generations. But this power, the Rebbe says, is not just limited to the Mashiach. It is given over to each and every one of us. Each individual, we're given over, and especially those who are connected to the Rebbe and follow the directives of the Rebbe and are inspired by the Rebbe and follow his teachings and understand what he's teaching and what our mission is. And he makes it clear by us. We have that extra power of the Rebbe as the emissary of God to bring the true and complete redemption. We have that within us. So let's see that inside the text. We're in Parshas Chaisar of the Malchus 57-52, the portion of Chaisar. We're on paragraph 12. The final pages of this Sikha that the Rebbe said to the Chabad emissaries in the 1992, okay, 57-52, the final Kinus of Shluchim that the Rebbe addressed in a physical body, and this is his final message to the Shluchim, the emissaries, and what he says. So he says, everything that we said till now, which I summarized very, very quickly and shortly. There's more if you look inside, but I summarized it in a few sentences. It says, aside from this and all this, we're adding more there's an additional extra advantage in our generation. Why specifically? There's something new happened in the world of shlichus, in the mission as our mission, since the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Rebbe says, he appointed each and every Jewish person in this generation to be his personal emissary to spread Torah and Judaism and spread the wellsprings of Hasidus, the inner dimensions of Torah, to the outside. until he brings the Gula Mitzvah Shlema, until we bring the true and complete redemption. So in our generation, the Rebbe says this whole mission that we've had as the Jewish people in general comes to an even higher level of mission because the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe appointed each and every Jewish person to be his personal emissary to spread Judaism and to spread the inner dimensions, the secrets, the hidden secrets of Torah, which weren't revealed until recent generations. And as we see in actuality, that now it's much easier to explain to a Jewish person, even a person that previously he didn't appear to be so connected to these ideas, or even somebody that you can even mention these concepts to. Okay, think about the 80s and the 90s, and even the year 2000. If you wanted to explain the concept of Mashiach to somebody who wasn't so related to it, it would seem a little far-fetched to try to explain these concepts. But the Rebbe says now it's easier to explain these things to people. So aside from a person's personal service, he also has the responsibility. Each of us has to be an emissary, what's called a shliach, to be an influence through our advantage, our knowledge, what we know, on other people, starting with your own family members, and your own friends, okay, yedidim, your acquaintances, okay, and from there to everybody that you can reach out to. So in addition to this, that each person in our generation was appointed specifically or given a shlichus, a mission to spread Yiddishkeit and Chassidus, the inner dimensions of Torah. Aside from that, there's another special thing. Those who were actually chosen to be emissaries of the previous Rebbe, or of the leader of our generation, it could be the Rebbe also, the kol avodatam, all their service, their 24 hours, is dedicated to the holy purpose of fulfilling their shlichus, their mission of spreading Torah and Yiddishkeit, spreading the wellsprings of Chassidus outward, and to bring the Gula. So there are people who are took upon themselves through being appointed by the Rebbe or the previous Rebbe to dedicate all their life, their 24 hours, to fulfill their mission, this mission of spreading Torah and Yiddishkeit and the inner dimensions of Torah, to bring the Geula, to bring the complete redemption and revelation of Hashem in the world. So it's incumbent on everyone, but there's some people, he says, in our generation who do it all the time, who are appointed to do it 24 hours. And how much more so? Shluchim, these emissaries, are coming from all corners of the world, like we're seeing this weekend. All the Shluchim are coming around to New York for an international gathering of Shluchim. Kinus when there's a gathering of tzaddikim, a gathering of righteous people, it's something that's enjoyable for them and enjoyable for the entire world. There was one year a number of years ago, I was debating whether or not to go to the Kinus, the gathering of the women emissaries, which takes place, later on in the winter. And I was debating whether or not to go. And I wrote to the Rebbe a letter, and I opened up one of the Rebbe's letters to see if I would get an answer whether I should go or not. And the Rebbe was saying that he was very pleased to hear that I joined the the American gathering of the rabbinic gathering of rabbis in New York or something like that. It was one of these Aguda gatherings of rabbis in New York, and he said it's too bad you didn't go at the very, very outset, at the very beginning, to at the first, for the first session. But he said I was very pleased that you spoke there and that you participated. So when I got that answer, I decided, okay, this is a good story, because what happened was I said, okay, so the Rebbe said he said to go for the beginning. And I usually say, I'll come at, this, little day in, I don't have to, it's hard to leave your family for so many days. So I usually shave off a little bit at the beginning and go, a little later in. So, but when I got that answer, that the Rebbe says, he was disappointed that this rabbi didn't participate from at the first sessions, at the opening session. I decided I'm going for the opening session, and I booked the flight for 7 a.m. So that I would get there in time for the first session. Okay, 7 a.m. from California, Los Angeles, Burbank, actually. That's when I got it. So I get to Burbank, I have to wake up at 4 a.m. and I get to Burbank at 7 a.m. or no, before, to get the 7 a.m. flight, which I never, I'm always afraid I'm going to miss it. So I don't book 7 a.m. flights usually. And, but I get there and I manage to make my flight. And then all of a sudden, another woman comes at towards the end of the flight, rushing in with her baby at the last second. Why? The next flights, all the flights that day were canceled because it was a huge snowstorm in New York. And all the people who were booked on flights to come later on were being canceled and couldn't make it in. So, and this woman, she's also Shluchim, she was coming in and she managed though to get onto this flight at the last second, rushing with her little infant. And she made it on time. And I had somebody to be with on the flight. But I remember saying, thank God I got this answer, because I just went, normally without rushing and going crazy. I didn't miss my flight. And I made it to New York before the snowstorm. And it was a very fun snowstorm. It was for me, it was very exciting to be in a snowstorm. Anyway, coming from California. But that was one of the things why did I think of the story? Just now, because it said how God, it says, it's when people, the Rebbe says, when Shluchim come together at this gathering, this international gathering, it's called the Kinus of gathering that brings enjoyment to the righteous people and enjoyment to the world, pleasure to the world and pleasure to the tzaddikim. And it's a pleasurable event when you see so many people coming together and you get to see friends and people from all around the world. It's a very pleasurable, exciting time. Brings a true enjoyment, which is enjoyment of holiness, to the people who are coming and to the world, the entire world, right? People can go live right now this year and see on the internet the Kinus Shluchim, the International Conference of Shluchim in New York, and you can watch live many parts of it, and it brings pleasure to the world. A world also from the word Olam means also cover up. But so even the places that are covered up, that are covering up, they're getting pleasure from this revelation of godliness, of holiness. Especially the Rebbe says, since it's an international gathering of Shluchim. Shluchim that are present in the whole entire world. And their service is expressed in the nullification of the Helam v'Hester, the cover-ups, the concealments of the whole world, and transforming the world until the world will become a dwelling place for God, in a way that there will be unity of the spiritual and the physical, as a preparation for the Geula, for the complete redemption, like we explained before. Okay, so the Rebbe is saying what's significant, that these shluchim are coming from all around the world, that their service is expressed that they eliminate this concealment of the world. They transform the world. They're bringing godliness revealed all over the world, so that the whole world can become a dwelling place for God, a revelation of godliness in this world, in a way of the physical and the spiritual merge, which is what we're talking about in this sikha. And this is a preparation for the true and complete redemption. And in this itself, the Rebbe says, now we're going to paragraph 13. This happens every year when the Shluchim get together, this international conference or gathering. There's something additional the Rebbe says this year. They always like to bring, every year it's not just same old, same old, same old. Every year there's something new significant for the year. And that's a lesson we need to learn. Every year we want to see what's significant this year. So in this year that the Rebbe is saying it, the Rebbe says there's a special, something special about the service of the Shluchim, which is the shlichus of Mashiach. What is special this year? And the Rebbe explains. We explained in the first paragraph that the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he was the leader of our generation. He already announced that we finished everything, every type of service that we did and need and have to do or must be done before Mashiach comes. I was actually, when I was just in Israel, and the cab driver who was driving me, he saw I was wearing my Mashiach, I guess, necklace, and he asked me a question. He says, "Isn't there supposed to be terrible things happening before Mashiach comes, a world war, and scary things happening?" And I said, no. The Lubavitcher Rebbe already said a long time ago, everything that needs to be done, all the things that we have to go through, all the whatever cleansing of the world has already been done. We finished everything that needs to be done. And the Rebbe says, we're already standing muchanim, prepared. to receive Mashiach Tzidkenu. We don't have to go through any more tzaras or any more problems before Mashiach comes. Okay, as we see this, Rebbe says, and it's already explained a number of times, we've already seen in the world, the Rebbe took also note that there are quite a few things that were happening in the world at that time, like the Gulf War and things that Rebbe kept pointing out, that show that the texts and the prophecies that we're talking about, the times of Mashiach, were happening at that time, and that the time of your redemption has arrived. We saw that from the text of the Medrash and Yalkut Shimoni that said that the time of the redemption will be a time when the Malchus Miskaros, there will be nations that will be kind of like threatening each other, especially in the Arab countries. And this is what happened. The Rebbe pointed out that's what was happening and going on in that year 1992. He says this already happened. The nations were, threatening each other. There was a lot of fear in the world. Especially in the Arab world, and the Rebbe says this is these are like one of the signs, and some of the signs that part of the signs of that Mashiach is already ready to be revealed. The time of the Geula has come, and Mashiach is already ready, and we're all ready, and we just have to receive this process. The Rebbe also says we already had last year's sign, which was in the year 1991, and it's continuing in this year, that there's more and more wonders. There's Nasa Mahut Shamash. We have all the prophecies also on the wondrous miracles that happened in 1991 are continuing through into this year and continuing, meaning like all these signs and all these miracles and all these prophecies, it's not like it happened and then Mashiach didn't come, so therefore what happened, it's gone. The Rebbe says no, each of these things feeds into the next year and the next year and becomes the content and the soul of the year. We also see another sign and thing that we see in actuality. The Rebbe says we see how Mashiach fights the wars of God, quote unquote, and he wins. In a few ways, he's fighting the wars of God. And what's the wars of God? Specifically, a war that's in a way of peace, of shalom. We're not talking about a war with swords, right? We're talking about enforcement and convincing and influencing. I would like to use the word influencing. Nowadays, influencing became a very popular word. So influencers, this is 1990s, wasn't so, but the Rebbe says we're influencing the world and bringing consciousness to the world in a way of peace. So all these wars that it's talking about, that the Mashiach is fighting the wars of God, it's really done in a way of peace, the Rebbe says. What's this winning? It's winning that could mean to win, or it could also mean eternal, netzach. Netzach is to win, and netzach is also eternal. So the Rebbe says this is the concept of winning here is we're referring to also the concept of eternally, that this is an influence that takes place infinitely and continuously forever and ever. And it has to do with the word netzach. Netzach has three parts, three letters to it. Nun, tzadik, chet. Nun is referring to, in Kabbalah, there's the 50th gate of understanding. That's a revelation of that Nun, the 50. Tzadik refers to the year of 90. Tzadik in numerical values is 90. And that was the 90th year of the Lubavitcher Rebbe since his birth. And then Ches, 8, is the revelation of Mashiach, which has to do with the letter 8. 8, we know, is above nature. 7 is 7 days of creation. 7 refers to nature, rules and laws of nature. 8 refers to above nature, which is referring to the times of Mashiach. Okay. From all this we understand. Since the Shluchim are already standing at a time that we already fulfilled everything that we need to start off the service of the Shlichus, of spreading out the Torah and Yiddishkeit, and spreading the wellsprings of Chassidus, the deeper dimensions, the hidden secrets of Torah, and to the outside world that everybody can learn it and see it and learn it. And we're now at a time that's already after the middle of this service, of this work of Shlichus, the service of this mission. Till we even finished the Shlichus, we finished we completed this mission, like the previous Rebbe already announced that we're ready for the revelation. And still, we see that in actuality, we don't have tangibly, physically, the true and complete redemption. Therefore, the Rebbe says, we must say, so maybe there's something, we must say that there's still something little that needs to be done in order to bring this geula into a tangible state and actuality. And what is this thing that needs to be done? We know that in every generation there's one person who's born. This is a quote from the Maimonides. Actually, it's from the Bartanur, Perush Bartanur, which is a commentary on the Megillah of Ruth, on the Megillah of Ruth. That in every generation there is a person who's born from the seed of the tribe of Yehuda, who is worthy to be the Mashiach for the Jewish people. He's one that's worthy from his righteousness to be a redeemer. When the time will come, Hashem will reveal himself to him and will send him as his emissary. Okay, and you could see the footnotes if you want. I can send you the footnotes of this quote. According to the announcement of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, the leader of our generation, who was the only shliach of our generation, and he was the only Mashiach of our generation. So the Rebbe says very clearly the previous Rebbe, which usually, whenever the previous Rebbe was mentioned by the Rebbe, he never spoke about himself. He only spoke about the previous Rebbe. And here he's saying that the previous Rebbe is the only shliach and the only Mashiach of the generation. And he says that the previous Rebbe already announced that we finished everything that needs to be done. So it's understood that already is starting to be fulfilled this mission of God is sending in the one who he's sending, which is the Mashiach, which as Moshe Rabbeinu said at the beginning of time when God wanted Moshe Rabbeinu to take the Jewish people out of Egypt, he said, send with the one who you'll send in the future. Don't send me, send the Mashiach who will redeem them in the future. And the Rebbe spoke about this in the Sikha. I'm not going to go back into it, but what the Rebbe is saying here is this shliach, this emissary of who's supposed to redeem the Jewish people at the end of days, the Rebbe says already started to be actualized in our times. And it started with the mission, the shlichus of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. And we all know that whenever the Rebbe was speaking about himself, he didn't say me, he would say the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. From this we understood the only thing that's left in our service of shlichus, our mission as emissaries, is to receive the face, the countenance of Mashiach Tzidkenu in actuality, so that he will be able to keep and fulfill his shlichus, his mission, the Paul in actuality, and to take us out of this exile. This is emphasized even more in this week's portion, Parshas Chayesara, in this week where the Kinus International Shluchim Convention is taking place. And in this week's portion, we read about the shlichus, the mission, and the task that was given by Abraham to Eliezer, to find, to be able to marry Yitzchak and Rivka. This shlichus, this power that Abraham gave to Eliezer to make this marriage work, it's a power that he gave to, in general, for all the shlichus that we have to do in this world, and especially, the Rebbe says, for the completion of the shlichus, of the mission of bringing Mashiach into the world. And the Rebbe explained this at length in the beginning of the Sikha, how the Abraham was the first Jew, and his giving this power to Eliezer, he gave everything he had. Remember, we learned this. He gave him all his money, and he was infusing him with all his physical assets and his spiritual assets, so that he'll be able to fulfill the mission of marrying Yitzchak and Rivka, which wasn't just this specific detail of their marriage. It was a mission that symbolized and brought about the power of us being able to draw down spirituality into physicality and reveal God in this physical world, and physical bodies and physical objects and physical encounters. And that's why it's important to constantly be seeing the godliness within us and around us happening. From this, aside from the services, this is also the Shabbos Mevachim. This is the Shabbos that blesses the month of Kislev. And this year there's 2 days of Rosh Chodesh, 2 days of the first, the head of the month of Kislev. This month of Kislev, it's called the month of Geula, and it's also it's called the month of Matan Torah, of the giving of the Torah, of the inner dimensions of Torah. It is the third month of rain, and aside from that, there's rain symbolizes also the shlichus of Mashiach, from below to above. Like we say, it says there has to be an arousal from below in order for there to be an arousal from above. So the arousal from below symbolizes how we're in a body, a neshama, a soul in a body. We're making the physicality spiritual. We're elevating the physical to become more spiritual. Okay, then that brings about the drawing down and the revelations of the spirit of Mashiach in this world. And this brings, like the Rebbe says, brings a tchia, brings like aliveness, something alive in the neshama of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, in actuality, to be like a soul in a body, not just as he is a ruach merachefet, the spirit that's hovering over the land, like it's explained, the spirit of Mashiach was hovering over the land. When God created the world, it says the spirit of Mashiach was kind of like hovering. The Rebbe says, when we elevate the physicality and reveal godliness from below to above, we're able to make this tangible, bring the revelation of the spirit of Mashiach into the world, not just as a spirit hovering, but in the physical world revealed. Paragraph 14, this is the final, second to final one. From this, the Rebbe says we can learn the instruction in actuality. That we're standing now at the beginning of the International Kinus, International Convention of the Shluchim. First of all, what we need to do, we have to come out with an announcement. At the opening of the Kinus of the Shluchim, the International Kinus. First of all, the Rebbe says, to all the Shluchim. That their service of Shlichus, their mission right now, is to, and not just their mission, the mission of every Jewish person, is expressed by receiving the countenance of Mashiach Tzidkenu, being receivers of the revelations of Mashiach. What does it mean? All the details in the mission and in the service of your shlichus, of spreading Torah and spreading the wellsprings of Yiddishkeit and the wellsprings of Hasidus, which is the deeper dimensions, the hidden secrets of Torah, to the outside. All of the details that are involved in that have to be permeated with this point. How is this going to bring about us being able to receive the countenance of Mashiach, to receive the Geula, the true and complete redemption? Meaning that's the mission is imbued in every little detail of what we're doing, that by doing this little detail of this event, this talk, this sentence, this WhatsApp, this email, this whatever it is that we're doing, we are even the mundane things, everything that we're doing is permeated with the fact that this is a preparation, this is a vehicle, this is a vessel to receive Mashiach. And this is and permeated. How is this? How is this leading us to receive Mashiach? Meaning we have to have it in our consciousness, is this action going to bring Mashiach more? I remember when I first started my Beis Chana program, I was trying to think, how I can get more people to come or to participate. So I was thinking I did like a cooking course class. I invited a chef because I was trying to figure out, different entertaining things or different interesting things to lure people and to come and be part of, the club, so to speak. And then the purpose was really to teach Torah and bring more consciousness and awareness of God but I would do all kinds of other things in order to kind of like entice people to maybe come. After a while, I gave that up and I said, I'm not going to, I'm here just, my purpose is just to teach the well springs of Chassidus, just to bring consciousness of the people to the inner hidden secrets of Torah. So I stopped with the other kind of stuff, and I focused just on that. And it seems like the Rebbe is also here saying, how can we make it clear, be very clear in our purpose and our mission, that every detail that we're involved in and putting our energy into and trying to bring out an effect, how is this leading us to receive Mashiach? Is this bringing us to the revelations of Mashiach? And like expressed in the topic of the Kinus, the topic of this international convention, what's the topic or the theme? All the days of your life to bring to the days of Mashiach. Lahavi is to bring to the days of Mashiach. Meaning, all the aspects of your service, all the days of your life, each and every single day, every little detail of every hour of the day, the Rebbe is not letting us like off the hook for a second. Everything that we're doing, even like the banking, the running around, the errands, the bills, the mundane of the mundane of the mundane things, everything is permeated. This is bringing Mashiach. How this is going to bring Mashiach, the revelations of Mashiach. Everything has to be permeated, that this is to bring to the days of Mashiach. Not just to add something. The Rebbe says, not just to be, and the Rebbe says, I spoke about this already of a number of places. The Rebbe says it's written in a number of places, that a person who's an emissary, a shliach, is not supposed to stand and wait around the Mashiach Yavo, Shemashiach Yavo. Okay, the Rebbe says he's not Mashiach, should not be standing and waiting for Mashiach to come. And then when Mashiach comes, he'll take a part in it. He'll enjoy it. The purpose is to bring to the days of Mashiach, to bring them about. He does everything he can to make the days of Mashiach come. And the days of Mashiach is said in plural, not just to bring the first day, the one day that Mashiach will all of a sudden appear, no, but to bring the days of the Mashiach, not just to bring the days where Mashiach is like known to be possibly Mashiach, that he might, he's available and ready to be Mashiach, but even to the days where Mashiach is for sure Mashiach, and it's clear that he is Mashiach. Meaning, to not, the Rebbe says, don't settle and don't stop. Keep being proactive to bring the Geula. Don't just passively sit around, say, well, God will bring and reveal him, Mashiach will reveal himself when the time is right, and then I'll jump on the bandwagon and enjoy the show. The Rebbe says, no, our job is to make it practically bring about these revelations. So the kavanah, the intent here, that it says, is simply put, from this international convention, we have to come and bring to good resolutions. How each emissary has to prepare within himself, right? Each shliach has to be on this in this mindset and prepared and ready. And to prepare each and every Jewish person in his place, in his city, etc., his surrounding, his sphere of influence. The Kabbalat Pnei Mashiach, to receive the face of Mashiach, the countenance of Mashiach. How can you prepare them? Through explaining to them what is the inyan, what is the concept, what's the ideas of Mashiach. Like it's explained in the Torah Shebichtav, the Torah Shebal Peh. It's like it's explained and elaborated and taught in the written Torah and the oral Torah, but often in a way that people can understand and receive it. It's a kol echad v'echad, each and every person, the fli sichlo v'naranto, each person according to their rational understanding. And I've explained the concept of Mashiach to people who are totally, very, very, very alienated from anything, any Torah and mitzvahs, are knowing too much, and very left of center, and very open-minded to all kinds of different ideas that seem to be contrary to Torah. And when I explain to them, though, the concepts of Mashiach, that we need a world leader that will bring world peace, that everybody will respect and trust and agree that he's a leader that has no agendas, they love the idea. They love the concept. They thought that's really cool. They like that this should happen. They're waiting that concept. So this is not the Rebbe says this is a way that there's ways we can explain to everybody this concept, that everybody can receive this idea. Okay, so each person according to their mind and their understanding, especially and specifically through learning. How can we explain this very, very well? The Rebbe says learning the concepts of Mashiach and Geulah, it's taught to us in Torah and to learn it not just in a way, I guess superficially, the Rebbe says, learn with your Chachma, your Bina, and your Das, all the faculties of your mind. Since this is the service of our times, we know that it's clear and it's proof that this is relevant to every person, not just specific or special or people who we think, it's the next person who needs to do this. The Rebbe says each and every one of us this is their service to do. And the last paragraph, should be Hashem's will, God's will. Each and every emissary should fulfill his mission, bishleimut, completely. For all the 10 powers of the soul. Okay, like we learned in Chassidus and Kabbalah, we all have 10 powers, starting with intellect and emotional and the actual bringing it down into action. Specifically and especially when all the Shluchim, all the emissaries will become united, and they will make gatherings, they'll come, they'll make meetings about this. They will immediately bring mamash and actuality, the revelation and the completion of the main shliach, the main messenger, the true messenger, which is Mashiach, together with him revealing his 10 powers. Like we said, Mashiach himself has his own 10 powers, and that's the shliach of our generation, which is, the Rebbe says again, the previous Rebbe, which the Rebbe was always, from all the years of his being Rebbe, never said me, he always referred to himself as the previous Rebbe. Just like he was in the generation before him. The previous Rebbe became one and united with his father. He was his only son. So that we have the completion of all the 7 branches, all the 7 Chabad Rebbes of the 7 generations. Okay, so the Rebbe here for sure is including himself. He's the 7th Lubavitcher Rebbe. Okay, so the Rebbe is saying they're all uniting as one. They're all one on this mission as one entity, as the 7 branches of the menorah. And from the Alter Rebbe, it says that's how all the Chabad Rebbes unite as one. And the Rebbe was the 7th. So he clearly alluded to himself in this task of being the one who's the emissary, the shliach, who is the Mashiach of the generation, the shliach of the generation, to bring the Geulah and peace, to bring the revelations of Mashiach into the world. And main thing, we already finished and we completed this service of the emissaries. Every shliach goes to the true one who's sending them, which is Hashem, God. God is the one who's sending us to begin with. And each shliach announces, Modia, Asiti et shlichusi, I did my mission. And now time has come, you, God, so to speak, should do your shlichus, your mission. Because even Hashem is also a shliach, he's also an emissary. Like it says, Dvar, he says his words to the Jewish people, to the Jewish nation. God, together with his 10 spheres, right? That our 10 powers of our soul mirror the 10 spheres of God. So he says, God himself, so to speak, with his 10 powers of the spheres, Hashem, his essence, in how he is in his essence, so to speak, is also Mashiach Tzidkenu. He's also Mashiach in his essence. Just like the Rebbe explained before, we each have Mashiach in our essence. Our core is Mashiach. The Rebbe says, and God himself the core, the essence, so to speak, is Mashiach. And we say, Shlach Nabiyat Shlach, send with the one. Moses said to God, send with the one who you're going to send. He was referring to Mashiach. So we're saying, Shlach Lanu is Mashiach. Send to us Mashiach, our righteous Redeemer, in actuality. So just like Moses, the Rebbe is quoting Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, who said to Hashem, send Mashiach. So we're saying that same thing. Send Mashiach in actuality. Okay, and even if there could be maybe some sort of doubt, maybe God just wants to keep us another moment in this exile, because God gets a lot of pleasure for us, doing our service and working hard in this exile. So the Rebbe says a Jew should shout out and cry out. There's a quote in the Gemara. Anything that the owner of the house tells you to do, you have to follow the rules of the owner, except for leave. Meaning, if God is telling us, I'm not bringing Mashiach, I'm enjoying your hard work. That says we don't have to listen. We have to cry out to God and say, you are the Balabite. You're the owner of this home, of this world. You are God. And if you're saying that we have to stay outside of you, go out, stay away from God, and be one more moment, God forbid, a way of being far away, being out, far away from the table of our Father and away from God, the Rebbe says, we beg and we demand, so to speak, from Hashem, send, like Moses said, send with the one who you will send. Send with Mashiach. Bishnat ubitchilata yad tishlach ve'avek kvar tegulam tisla shlema. At the beginning of the year already, not later on. Send him now, and bring now already the Geulam Tisla Shlema, the true and complete redemption. Together with the completion of the service of Shlichus, I like to explain in Likutei Torah, Parshas Zabacha, Yesh Miadet Shlemut Nisayim, we have what will be completely revealed in times of Mashiach, will be the completion of this concept of marriage. Like it says in Shir Hashem, the Song of Songs, that there's the marriage of the Jewish people and God, Kadosh Baruch Hu and Yisrael. Especially there, since if we take on the resolution, very good resolution to learn the whole book of Torah or Likutei Torah from the Alter Rebbe, all the parts of them until their end. It's very deep stuff. And even if he didn't, wait, where am I? So I did through learning these concepts, it makes things quicker in our to draw these concepts down into the world, to be actualized in the world, the revelations of God is revealed actually in the world, until a point where the feminine will be elevated and transcend the masculine. It's a concept that's taught in Chassidus. Feminine energy will be elevated and higher and revealed, that its source and it transcends the level of the masculine energy. So to speak, God, who is considered more the masculine energy, and the Jewish people are considered the bride, the feminine energy. It's as if God himself, is agreeing and admitting to the Jewish people, to each and every Jewish person, to the Jewish people in general, about their service. Yeah, you're right. I feel that even if our service wasn't 100% complete, I would put some parentheses. He says, you're right. You did your service. I accept your. He's accepting that the feminine is elevated, that the receiver is now on this level of encompassing, and the Rebbe is saying, so to speak, Hashem is acknowledging the work that we did, that it's elevated and it's higher and it's done, it's complete, and Hashem can say yes, okay, it's fulfilled, it's all encompassing, it's done, it's elevated, it's high, it's beyond. It's like Hashem can, so to speak, acknowledge that the power of the receiver has been elevated, to a place where he can acknowledge that it's on this high level of completion. Hashem reveals, Mashiach reveals all the Jewish people to the Holy Land, the Yerushalayim HaKadosh, the Yerushalayim, the Holy City, the Har HaKadosh, the Holy Mountain, the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, to the third Beis HaMikdash, and this should be immediately. Mainly, it should happen immediately, mamish, not Charlie. Wow, it's a long thing. Any questions or comments? I think I'm going to first turn on the YouTube live, and then we'll have a discussion.